This episode is brought to you by HighSpots.com. HighSpots.com is the leading provider of professional wrestling and mixed martial arts merchandise. From wrestling boots to wrestling DVDs, wrestling action figures to title belts, HighSpots.com has the largest selection of wrestling merchandise. Go there right now with our link, tinyurl.com/STS HighSpots. STSHIGHSPOTS. Shop there with that link. It won't cost you any extra, but it will help support this podcast.
24, 10 ways to improve 205 Live for a Cool Kids Countdown. This was recorded 7 months ago and actually still stays true today. Here's a clip. Listen, download.
These are the guys that's been on the indies, that's been doing this stuff, and they can do it now. So why not let them do it and see if it works?
Yep, I say turn these guys loose. The problem is you brought in guys that do high-flying style and do different types of styles, and you're forcing them into typical WWE, traditional wrestling scripts, like basically what you just described. Let them do their thing. These guys all come, like you said, from a background where they can do brawling, they can do flying, they can do much more athletic stuff, but they're getting forced into doing this stuff. You see a little bit of it here and there with Neville, but not that much of it. Again, go back to even just the Cruiserweight Classic. You got a lot more different styles of matches there when they brought in some more of the Lucha guys, and they had Japanese guys, they had Ibushi. Let these guys do their thing. Take off the chains or whatever it was that Curtis Axel used to say. The chains are removed or whatever his stupid catchphrase was for half an hour. Let these guys do more action-packed stuff. Like you said, I get to go to Freelance, you get to go to Glory Pro. We see nothing but 3+ star matches when we go to those shows. Why can't these guys be doing the same thing? And it doesn't even have to be in the temple type arena. It can be in the regular arena. It can be wherever they film it. They can just let them have great action-packed matches. So at number 6, we've got sit-down interviews a la the Roderick Strong piece on NXT.
Hey, it's live from STS Studios in St. Louis, Missouri for a new episode of Shootin The Shiznit. I want to thank everyone first for the compliments and all the downloads for Jeff Zinger, episode 79. If you haven't listened to that, please do me a favor and go listen to it. A big favor to everyone who listening. We got lots and lots of good reviews. I want to say hello, thank you. Thank you to the whole staff. Thanks to Lance, to the wife, to everyone. This is our 1-year anniversary today, January the 16th, 1-year anniversary returning with Shootin The Shiznit. So happy anniversary to us, you, and hopefully many years to come. All right, I want to thank, let me see who we're going to thank this week. Always, Wrestling to Max website, W2mnet.com, Pro Wrestling's Between the Sheets, www.pwbts.com, my buddy Gene Jackson at Locals 2 Legends. That's right, if you want to reach us, I'm at Comic Book Mark BT. We do all the new episodes there at BT Shootin The Shiznit over on Instagram. We also have some merch, tinyurl.com/STSPodmerch. You can reach us at PayPal at Brian_Trammell at TRAMEL. That's Brian_Trammell at yahoo.com. You can send money there. Thanks to everyone that sends $2 or $3. And we are on, we're on iTunes, Stitcher, Player FM, Pod Paradise, Spreaker, SoundCloud. You can listen to all the archives on www.stspod.club. We have a super secret Cool Kids group. It's a Cool Kids wrestling group. We talk MMA every once in a while. You got to ask to get in, and if you're asked, we'll kick you out. I have a Facebook Shootin The Shiznit that posts all the new episodes. Just search Shootin The Shiznit. A big shout out to my buddy Suplex City Limits, Creative Control, Who's Right Podcast, and P3 Radio. My buddy Max over there. I want you to go listen to episode 16. Not always about wrestling. This episode's about Red Sylvan and just absolutely hilarious. It will make you laugh, I promise you. Now let's get to the show. green room. Alan Steele, how the hell are you?
I'm good, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. I usually bring people on here, someone I've never met or someone I've known for a long time. And I've known you for a long time. I can't say we're best friends or anything like that. But number one, a big fan of yours and Power Pro. Guys, if you can't, you go to YouTube. If you don't know the name Alan Steele, look up some Power Pro shows. That's where Alan started. Absolutely loved you in Power Pro and with your feud with Derek King, which you did something with Brian Thompson about 6 years ago where we try to conclude the feud, right?
Yeah, I came out on top on that, by the way.
All right.
That
Let's
one up on Derek,
know. Yeah. Alan still beat Derek King finally, after how many years, who knows. I want to start because there's going to be some people, we actually put up a stat thing the other day on the Facebook page. I got fans in Germany, Japan, have no idea why people listen to us in Germany, but Canada.
They probably can't understand it.
No idea. Japan, lots of wrestling fans. The UK, lots of wrestling fans. I understand it. Canada also. But Germany just was weird. But let's talk about you. You guys how long have you been a professional wrestler?
I am in my 20th year. I started in 1997. And 2 decades later, I'm still going. I don't know if I'm going strong or if I'm just going out, but I'm going.
That's a long time to be bumping, man. That's 20 years is a long time, and I want you to now. How'd you get started? Who trained you? Talk about that. You also had a stint there that I know you, a guy that helped you a lot was Sir Mo from Men on a Mission, and people are going to remember that name. But let's talk about how you got started, and who trained you, and how fun was the training?
Well, I had to jump through some hoops and worked my way around a few people before I found my actual trainer, but I initially ran into a guy named Charlie Parks, and I was trying to get trained, and he said he would train me, and so I was trying to come up with the money for it and gave me a price. I don't remember exactly how much it was, but then one day while I was at the gym working out, I ran into Sid Vicious, and I was like, wait a minute. I know who Sid Vicious is. No offense to Charlie Parks. No idea who the heck he was. So talked to Sid, and Sid said, yeah, I'll train you, blah, blah, blah. Well, I got his phone number, and I felt like I was harassing the guy. I was calling him almost daily. You ready to start training me? You ready to start training me? And so he just, he wanted to do it for the money, but I don't think he really cared to take the time to train me. So I got frustrated and wrote Channel 5 in Memphis a letter when Power Pro Wrestling was on TV, and just asked them if they had a wrestling school. And I was surprised I got a response like within the week. And it said, yes, they do. And it's run by none other than Bill Superstar Dundee. So they gave me Bill's number. I called him up the next Saturday, went over to the studio, met him after the TV, and we talked. Told me the price. She told me, it was him and Samantha at the time, and she was kind of telling me all the stuff, and Bill was just co-signing, on the side or whatever. But
right,
they were giving me the rundown. And I needed, knee pads, elbow pads, wear something didn't mind getting tore up. It was going to cost me $2,000. I was like, "Ooh, $2,000, okay." So I took a loan out from the bank. This is how serious I was about wanting to get in. So I went and took a loan out and used that to help pay on my wrestling school. So got started with Bill. Every Wednesday night after that, I was either going to Jackson, Tennessee or McKenzie, Tennessee to train. And that's where I was introduced to a lot of the Power Pro locker room. Blade Boudreaux, Trey Keller, Naughty by Nature Rude was there, Lance Jade, and I'd say the one who had the most influence on me was Derek King. Spent the most time with me. We made the most trips together after that, up and down the highways. I was driving him to shows, picking his brain, trying to learn everything I could. But training, let me tell you, man, when I first night we get there, of course, we warm up or whatever and just getting there, and it's all basics. You know, Bill teaches you the basics. If you go to Bill Dundee's wrestling school and you think you're going to learn a moonsault, you haven't never watched Bill Dundee.
No, you haven't. Yeah.
He teaches the basics on some holds, you know, and how to protect yourself from when you're falling, and, you know, just literally, you know, like freshman in school, brand new, you know, borderline. This is the foundation. He teaches you the foundation. And the first time I got in the ring, I was hooked, man. There was nothing. You couldn't have fought me out of that place. I mean, I wasn't ready to go when they were shutting it down. You know, I was trying to stay. I remember I twisted my knee the first night, and he was like, "Oh, well, you're done for the night, blah, blah, blah." I said, "No, I'm not." I said, "No." So we just kept on and on. But I met a lot of good friends, you know, through the school, and a lot of brothers, as you know, we like to call us. But yeah, dude, I trained for about 6 months, and then I reffed one of his events he had at the Omen Arena in Jackson, Tennessee. And then I started having matches in McKenzie, Tennessee, and my first opponent was Rude, and I was the handsome stranger at the time. I was, the old Marcus Bagwell from like Global type thing,
right?
With everything with the roses, the Zorro mask, the tux, you know, all that stuff. So I went full bore into that and did that for a little bit, and then started wrestling for myself, as myself rather. And then I don't know how long it was, to be honest with you. I know it was within my first year. I got a phone call from Randy Hill, and he was asking me if I'd like to wrestle at the New Daisy Theater for Power Pro. And I started to say, well, that's the dumbest question I've ever heard. Hell yeah, I want to do that, you know. But I did that, and it was like a tryout. And my first match was against, and you probably remember the guy, Sensational Steve Bradley.
Oh man, Steve Bradley's got like a cult following. I just everyone just absolutely loves Steve, loved what he did, and you know, and apparently he was a really nice guy. And there's still people that talk about him on Twitter and everything. So that's awesome name there. So
yeah, he's a super nice guy. He was self-trained and was one of the most talented guys then, and still could. I mean, you know, may rest in peace. But if he was around today, man, he would be a megastar. You know.
You know him, and did you ever work Reckless Youth? There was two guys right there that should have been. Reckless Youth was in this area too, and that was two guys that. He was here for a little bit because of MCW, but that was that.
Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah. Go ahead.
But I never got to wrestle him.
Yeah. Was that during the MCW? Because Bradley was under contract, wasn't he? Developmental contract?
Yeah, you know, Randy and Brandon had the developmental before MCW did.
Right.
You know, because Kurt Angle and Rikishi and all those guys, they came through Memphis. And then once, I guess, around the same time that the studio was no longer going to do the live wrestling for whatever reason, fire code, whatever, depends on which, you know, version you hear.
Right.
Then I guess it was Terry Golden was running MCW, and he ended up with the developmental contract. And that's when Regal showed up. And I mean, I think that's when Reckless Youth came through, because I don't remember him at Power Pro. I think that was with MCW.
That's possible. Did you, in the sense that you, I come up with questions as you're talking. Now, you're talking to Bill about being, being at his school and everything. And was there any kayfabing going on? Was he saying, look, because we hear horror stories about the first time you come to the, they want to take your money. I know Bill's not like that, but did he try to kayfabe, or was it just up front with everything when you gave the money?
Well, I mean, what I could see, like, what I did, instead of giving him all of it at one time, I paid $500 down.
Right.
And then I paid him $60 every 2 weeks. That way, because I ended up putting some of that money away to pay on some bills and stuff.
Right.
To be honest. So I paid the $500 down, and then the job I was working at while I was training, paid every 2 weeks. So he was like, you could pay me $30 a week, or you could pay me $60 every 2 weeks. And I was like, well, let's do every 2 weeks because I get paid every other week. So that's what we did. And he never tried to jip me, never, or get over on me. I got a receipt. I mean, they were straight up, Yeah, Sam had a receipt book, and she was writing receipts every time that anybody would pay her. And so no, it was never like, let's get over on this kid type thing, because I guess they were looking at it like, if they did that, then word of mouth at some point, people are going to stop going to them, So they were straight up honest with me the whole time.
Good deal. But they were straight up honest with you too. They told you it was a work. They didn't say, okay, we're not going to do any predetermined finishes until, a lot of the old guys, there's a sad story about Tiger Mask who, when he goes to do his first match, didn't know it was a work. So, but he was up front with you doing it. Okay.
Oh yeah. Plus, I had all the other guys too. So like all the younger guys, Derek and all those guys. And, nobody was like trying to get over on me or like ribbing me or nothing like that. They let me know from the jump.
Awesome. And you said you worked Rude the first night. So my question is, how fucking stiff was he?
Not at all. Which if some people think he is, and I've never had an issue with him. The one incident I had with Rude, we wrestled, and I was sunburned, man. Like, I looked like a lobster. And I remember I was like, just please don't chop me. So Rude decides, okay. So, we'll get the young guy. Chops the bejesus out of me. And it's stinging like hell. And all I remember is I kicked him in the stomach and forearmed him across the back so hard that I never had to worry about those chops again.
Those guys used to go to Chicago. When they came back, they were just stiff as hell. And I'd get on the side of the apron to do the bump, and man, it was like, I owed him some money or something. So,
right.
But yeah, took care of us. Rude and Tully and Poker Face, I have nothing but good things to say about those guys. But you also, Sir Mo helped you out a lot too. So tell, how did you get, connected with Mo? Did he say, hey, this guy's a good worker, so forth and so on? But how did that happen?
He came to Memphis at Power Pro, and he, at the time when he first came back, I think he had Dion with him, and they were Ron and Dion Harlem, and so they were like the tag team really on Power Pro. And so he was there for a while, and he watched, of course he watched all the matches. He watched everybody work and this, that, and the other. And for whatever reason, and I'm not sure what the real reason behind it all is, but Dion couldn't make that trip anymore. They were coming from the Carolinas to Memphis every week to work TV.
Right.
And so Dion couldn't make the trip anymore. And so we were sitting in the locker room one day, and Mo just kind of out of nowhere, he goes, hey, man, how would you like to be my tag team partner? And I was going, what? Like, all right, are you like, where's the cameras? So I thought he was messing with me because I was still within my first year in the business. Didn't think I would be good enough to carry my weight. And I sure as hell didn't want to make former WWF tag champion look bad. You know what I mean? Plus, I was worried what my ass if I did. So,
right.
But he's like, yeah, man, I've been watching you and, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, hell yeah, I'd like to do it. And so then, next thing you know, I don't know if there was a formal introduction on the TV show or anything like that, or if we just all of a sudden showed up, hey, guys, we got matching gear, let us go. But
right.
we went and there was a lady out there in Cordova, and she used to make a lot of the guys' stuff, so we went out there and had some stuff made, and we started tagging and traveled a little bit. And he was he was running a company in Dyersburg on Saturday nights, so they'd come in, do TV on Saturday morning, and Saturday night they'd go to Dyersburg, do that show there, and then I think they would drive back on Sundays. And so we started tagging and we jailed pretty fast, and it was a lot of fun. Picked his brain a lot, and he helped me with my first booking for WWE. He helped me land that too. So Mo has stuck his neck out for me. But I mean, we've done stuff for each other, you know, outside of the wrestling business,
Right? I know
personal
that.
lives,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So I mean, yeah, we were about as tight knit. And I'm not saying that we're not anymore. I just don't see him and get to communicate with him nearly as much as I used to. But I mean, we were like brothers for real, you know. I mean, he stayed at my house before. I mean, anything I needed, all I had to do was pick up the phone. You know, there was a brotherhood, like genuine brotherhood between him and myself.
Well, I thought, you know, if we were going to talk to you, there's no way I could go 30 minutes without mentioning Sir Mo. I mean, just because he was so – I always thought he was I worked for Mo in Dyersburg a little bit and did a couple of other spot shows around, and he was always up front with me and my teams, and always and I knew he was very important to your career. So, hey, we're going to do just a quick commercial, and we're going to come back. You touched on something about working for the WWE, and I think that's going to be fun for everyone to listen to. So, quick commercial, and we'll be right back.
All right.
NFLShop.com is the official online store for the National Football League. It offers the biggest selection of officially licensed NFL merchandise online. Shoppers looking for jerseys, the game day collection apparel by Nike, and headwear from New Era will find what they want from all 32 teams at NFLShop.com. The season may be over, but you can still get all of your division-winning shirts as well as Super Bowl apparel right now if you go there visiting them with our link, tinyurl.com/STS NFL Shop, STS NFL SHOP. Shopping there with this link will cost you nothing extra, but will help support this podcast. Now, back to the show.
All right, we're back with Alan Steele. Can you hear me, Alan?
I sure can.
All right, good deal. I'm doing all this new stuff recently, and I always have to ask everyone because I'm scared we're going to be recording for like 20 minutes. I'm talking by myself, so we're going to touch on we're going to touch on the your WWE stuff. I did a website, as you know, for 5 years, and a lot of people listening to this. Remember the website. Funny story about Alan. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do all the stuff that he was nominated for and what he won during that 5 years. And then I'm going to tell a funny story about Alan, which he probably don't even remember doing. But you were nominated for a Horizon, which is an award who deserves the WWE contract, in 2006 and 2007. Most underrated in 2009. Part of the booking committee at NEW at 2009 also. These are all nominations. There also the Horizon Award in 2010, an MVP performer in 2010. You worked that whole year there in 2010, which I think most of the time was with NEW. You won Most Underrated in 2009, Booker in 2009 at NEW. Your rankings of the top 10 rankings in singles, you did 2006 8, 2007 6, 2009 8, 2010 number 3, and as you know, there's a lot of guys in this area. When we're talking about the top 10 guys, that was always awesome to see your name in there because I believed it more than anyone else did. At the end of the when I did the top wrestlers, you ended up number 11 of the 5 years, and I wrote one of the top performers in the area that I ever witnessed live. Long before RRO still had some classic bouts with Derek King during Power Pro and would continue to prove to be the best of the best. I had the pleasure of working with him during the WOWF days, managing Greg Anthony. He would probably have been in the top 5 if he had performed full-time during the last 5 years. He's one of those guys that deserves a WWE contract. And if you're listening to this out of the Memphis area, that gives you some kind of respect that I have for Alan Steele. And it also, if you're listening in the Memphis area, you know I'm telling the truth. So, Alan, here is a couple of things about you, and I'll see if you remember. I think I only worked with you one time at WOWF when I was managing Greg Anthony, and you ribbed me during the whole fucking match. Do you remember doing that?
No, I think you may have told me this story before, and I don't recall it, but I don't put it past myself either.
So you call the finish, and you say, "Look, I want you to get up like you always do with the apron, with the clipboard, the whole 9 yards." And I said, well, what, give me some kind of, I'm going to do, I think you said I don't remember what you were supposed to be doing to tell me to go to the finish. But
right.
You did that. I went to the finish, I think 4 times before we actually went to the finish. So I get back to back. I said, you said, what the fuck was what were you doing? And I said, well, I was getting up. You was not that. I think you said you was going to grab the turnbuckle or something. You said, not that turnbuckle. And I said, okay, what the hell? And then after I'm driving home, I'm just get a big laugh out of it. I'm like, because I was pissed off I messed up. And I'm driving home, and then I start laughing about it. Yeah, thanks a lot, man. The ROO site was something brand new to the area, and I kind of took Meltzer. I just broke it down and said, okay, we're not going to kayfabe everyone. We're going to tell them the way I really think about wrestlers. And a lot of people actually didn't like the site because I was blabbing. I think the Gates made more of that. And then, it become a gossip site at times. We were backstage one night during an NEW show when I was doing this, and all the guys were excited because BT was there and that they was going to try to have a better match. And you said... It don't.
I remember this.
Yes. I don't know if you said fucking, but you did tell them, this doesn't matter what he thinks about these matches. And at that moment, I was like, man, Alan, shut up, I'm like, and I think you're one of the few guys, I know there's some more out there, but actually got the side that for 5 years, I was probably working more people than the wrestlers were, in the sense that I was able to get in free, not in a bad way, but get in free to the matches and see some of the best matches, because if I was there, and it's true, if I was there, some of those guys tried to overperform. But you knew. Yeah. The other guys didn't know. The NEW locker room was, like putty in my hand. And you were the only one that didn't give a shit whether I was there or not. So, hey, lots of respect for that. You said it right in front of me, too. You didn't say it, didn't say it behind my back. So that was a cool thing.
It just bothered me that the guys, were more worried about your opinion than actually improving. And it wasn't a knock really on you per se, but I was like, who gives a shit what he thinks? Once you learn how to work, learn how to carry a match from bell to bell, and then it don't matter who's sitting here writing their opinion of you, it'd be good either way. And granted, I might not have been so kind with the way I phrased it, but it's you sit back and watch it over and over and over, it's like, come on, guys. If you're going to be the marks, go buy a ticket.
Well, it was. I mean, and that's, I had a great time doing the website. Had some bad times, but mainly good times. But I had people trying to whip my ass, and I even had Rude mad at me. And I've never had Rude mad at me the whole time I was doing the website because of various things, and because I revealed him as a clown, I think. Not as a clown, but as a clown under a mask, if people don't understand that.
Right.
But you were the one guy that I can truly say, Alan still understood what I was doing. It really didn't matter what I thought. It mattered, But that dressing room was one of my favorite dressing rooms because they did actually I think Golden Boy spoke up one night, too, about somebody. Or the Golden Boy and somebody wasn't going to do a good match, and Derek got pissed because I didn't show up, they weren't going to do a good match. So, all right, let's go. Let's quit talking about me, but those are two of my Alan Steele memories. Let's go. You said when you worked for the WWE. Let's go through a process. How did you first get started where you was working with the WWE? And I just kind of go behind the scenes with us and tell us maybe couple of things you did and how you actually got it, how you got paid, how you left, how you got another call, and things like that.
Well, let's see. Like I said, the first time, if I remember right, Sermo actually got myself and Rude booked. And so we were going to, it was Birmingham and Huntsville, Alabama. And the poker face is all in this story, but he wasn't booked and ended up working more than any of us, which is great because he took the initiative to volunteer to drive us. He goes, I just want to go. I'll drive y'all, whatever, blah, blah, blah. We let him drive us to Alabama. this sucker worked more than either one of us did. And, I mean, you probably got more out of that trip than Rude or myself. But Mo had arranged it. And so, honestly, I'm not sure who he talked to at the time. All I know is when we showed up, our name was on the list. They did a little bit different pay than they do now. Now you don't get squat when you get there. It's all a check. Back then they gave you like $100 on a draw, and then they would send you a check for the difference in the mail probably a month later. But we went down there, and I remember this is when we did our match on Sunday Night Heat, Rude and myself, and we tagged up against Mark Jindrak and Garrison Cade at the time, who was Lance Cade, who came from the Shawn Michaels Wrestling Academy.
Yeah.
And, Mark Jindrak had been on, he was one of, I think they were called the Filthy Animals or Natural Born Thrillers or something in WCW.
Thrillers. Yeah.
And so we had a match against those two guys on Sunday Night Heat. And it would, we were just thinking, all right, we're about to get our lunch, just ate. And honestly, man, they gave us a match, and it was surprisingly. And I don't know if it's because I knew Lance,
Right.
or if it was just, that they knew what was up. They had a spot. They knew we were trying to get a spot, and so we did that match. And then, you get there early as all get out. Like, I don't think you have to get there quite as early now, but man, back then we got there like 11 a.m. and we just sat around the building, and depending on what they had going on, you may be able to change clothes and get some workout clothes on, may be able to get in the ring and like do a tryout match, or just roll around and do some drills with them, or just whatever, So, those are some long days, man, when you don't get to participate, because I've been there a few times where I literally sat like twiddling my thumbs for 10, 12 hours. And it's like, oh my God, I'd rather be at home. But, we did the tag match. It went off pretty well. You can probably find it on YouTube or whatever. I remember I took a drop kick power bomb combination for the finishing move, and I was amazed at how high Mark Jindrak could jump. Like, he took one step, I'm sitting on Lance's shoulders, and he drop kicked me right in the chest. And I don't know what his vertical leap was, but it was darn impressive. And so we did that. The next night we went, and I actually got a dark match, like legitimate, like me and another extra talent guy got to go out and work. This was in Huntsville, I want to say. I think the first night was in Birmingham. And we got to work in front of the crowd, and it was cool. It was I actually won my dark match, which was, unexpected.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. Got to meet like a lot of people, man. Sergeant Slaughter, he was kind of in charge of our whole segment and all that stuff. So, but we met everybody, Flair, Triple H, because the first time we went, they didn't have a separate locker room for the extra talent. So we're sitting there. Oh, this is a funny story. We're sitting there.
Good.
And there's just a ring of chairs, and I'm sitting there, and then plops down to my left is freaking Kane. And I go, oh, Jesus Christ, this dude's huge. And this is remember when he was wearing the towel over his head?
Right.
And like a black towel or whatever. Well, I get up to go to the bathroom, and when I come back, he's not there. And so I sit down, just waiting to see what they got for us that day, if anything. And he comes back, and he's looking around. He goes, anybody see my towel? And I'm looking around like, who is he talking to? Because I look down and go, I ain't seen your towel, man. I'm sorry. I said, I can help you try to find it, So literally, he lifts up my bag. They planted it in my bag while I was out of the room. And he gives me this look, and I don't know if I was really scared or if I was just putting him over, but he laughed. Oh my God. They had a very good time at my expense on that one. But, you know, we did that, and then whatever connection that Mo had made, apparently we did at least decent enough to get invited back. I had gone back several times. I probably, between matches and just extra roles and security and, you know, all this stuff, I probably worked for the WWE, I would say 12 to 15 times, somewhere in there.
And did you get,
as I got older...
what was the pay? Because it was pretty good for you to do that. I know it was the whole day.
It was like $250 when we first started.
Right.
And then I think it went down to $200. And then like one of the last times I went, I believe it was $150. So it's kind of been cut back. But you know, hey, you know, try to go get $150 on an indie booking somewhere, you know,
right,
and
right.
Good luck with that, you know. So, and then half the time, like I said, you didn't do nothing. You didn't have to take any bumps or nothing like that. You know, you're lucky to get in an extra role. Really, nowadays it seems like, because they've got, with NXT as strong as it is, you know, if they want to really look at you, they'll send your ass down there. You know, they don't got to take time away from you while they're trying to record their show. But it was cool. I mean, it was a good payday. Of course, it was the biggest pay for a match that I'd ever had. And so I was like, hell yeah, this is awesome. But, you know, like I said, I worked for them probably 12, 15 times, somewhere in there. But, you know, the older you get, the more you do it, the less you get to actually participate in. You kind of, it's like, oh my God, do I want to go spend a whole day just hanging out, you know?
Right.
I mean, granted, you always want to get your face seen and this and that and the other. And as I've gotten older, man, you know, the thought in my head is like, hey, do I want that schedule? You know, do I want to be traveling 300 days out of the year? And I'm a homebody, man. You know, I like to wrestle. I love to wrestle, but you know, I would be ecstatic with 3 bookings a week, not 5 to 6. You know what I mean? So, I mean, granted, I'm not an idiot. If they say, hey, Alan Steele, we're going to offer you this amount of money to come, blah, 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 I'd be like, where do I sign? Let's roll, you know. But preferably, you know, I'd like to make the same amount of money and work half as much.
Sure, we all would. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Yeah, you know, but that
Did you?
You know,
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
But in my mind, I'm here. I remember something. Were you on camera once with Triple H? Do we have a picture with you on camera? In my mind, I'm thinking that you did something.
Yeah, we did a skit. I think it was here in Memphis, or it was either Memphis or Nashville. When we were police officers, and it was back when DX was against the McMahons. So they actually did a thing where Shawn breaks into the McMahon's dressing room, and we're guarding Shane and Vince. And when he breaks in, you know, he's going nuts, and he ends up pushing me. Well, I'm like the I guess chief of the police, or at least the lieutenant. I'm the guy of the cops that are there that day. And so it's a couple segments. It's that. And then there's one where it shows us, like the first one is Vince giving us a pep talk. He better not step in here, blah, 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 blah. And this is all on the new and improved D-Generation X DVD. It's actually on their DVD, this whole segment. Yeah. So, but, you know, he's giving us the pep talk, and the second one, Shawn busts in. And then the third one is a scene where we've got Shawn handcuffed, and he's begging us to let him go and this and that and the other. So me and Shawn actually have a dialogue back and forth and get to talk for a second. And then, yeah, Triple H walks up, and we're sitting there kind of face-to-face for a second. And it was actually really cool because we actually had to video that probably about 5 or 6 times. Thankfully, none of them was because of me. Like, I didn't fumble at all on that.
Good deal.
You remember the guy that was the Great Khali's manager?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, he at the time was like the head writer, and so that was his segment. And when we were doing the back and forth, he would say, "Cut." He came up to me and said, "Man, you're over talking Shawn." And I was like, "Okay, tell me how much you want me to talk, because I mean, no offense, I'm supposed to be the authority figure. I'm not going to let him over talk me. But if that's what you you tell me how much you want me to say, and I'll say it, basically. So he was like, well, just cut back, 20%. I said, okay. So we do it again. And he goes, cut. You're still talking too much, right? And he starts kind of getting an attitude a little bit. So I'm standing there, and I looked at Shawn, and he just cut his eyes at me. He goes, I thought it was good. And I was like, yeah, I did too, but, apparently not good enough. So then you hear, young man, and I go, who is that? And it's Vince. He's been standing over to the side watching this whole thing.
Oh, wow.
And Vince comes and he walks in, and he goes, I don't know if you've ever dealt with police before, but they don't let you get any words in. He said, young man, you're doing excellent. You keep doing what you're doing. He goes, you shut up and let this go. And I was like, yes. So Shawn
Love
Michaels,
it. Yes.
nudges
I
me.
mean, yeah, that was awesome. I mean, Vince is telling you, the man's telling you.
Oh, God. I was trying so hard not to, I thought, probably had to pee my pants almost. I was so excited at that point. But Shawn nudges me, and he goes, I don't know about you, but I'd listen to the guy in the suit. I said, hey, I might not be as experienced as you, but that's one you don't have to tell me. So, but it was a really cool moment. I got to do stuff with those. And then, I know I don't want to run out of time here, but we got to do workouts in the ring and stuff. And I remember in one day I got in the ring with Triple H, The Undertaker, Arn Anderson, Fit Finley, I'm trying to think who else, but all these guys, real superstars and legends, I got to actually get in the ring with each and every one of those guys in one day. They had all these extra guys there. They had all their developmental guys, and they got me in the ring and kept me in the ring. And I was like, this is either really good or this is really bad. So,
right. Yeah. Why the hell am I going to be the one in the ring all the time? Yeah.
Right. But the fact that I got to lock up with Arn Anderson, dude, you couldn't tell me nothing. I mean, I was like, my day is made.
Right.
So, but
that's the thing.
It was killing me.
People don't understand, and it's and as you as a worker, you can't. Right now, we can talk about it and say, hey, here I am. Where they say, you can't mark out to the guy. Even I remember being told, at times, let's don't make picture. Don't make. When I'd work an indie show with Valiant, they wouldn't want you to make a picture. If you were working that show, they wouldn't want you to make a picture. You could go over and talk to him, but, things like that. I mean, I hate to do this, but we're going to cut it. I really try to stay under 45, around 30. Before we get off here, come on, if you have anything you want to promote, your Twitter, your Facebook, whatever, tell us where we can get in touch with Alan Steele.
All right. Well, let's see. I'm on Facebook, and it's just Alan Steele. Or I guess it's called a nickname on Facebook. It's Steel Trap 76. And then the same thing as far as my Instagram page, Steel Trap 76. And then I also am on Twitter at Alan Steele _TCW. That's my 3 social media accounts. I'm still trying to get used to the Instagram thing, to be honest with you. I did Facebook forever, and then I figured out a cool way to link up my Twitter to my Facebook. So if you look at either one, you're going to see a whole lot of the same stuff, because I just try to make it as easy as possible on myself, because I didn't do nothing with my MySpace when I had that thing. So I'm trying my best, but one thing I do want to say before we go, I want to thank Michael Hayes, and he may never hear this, and he might, but Michael P.S. Hayes is the one who hooked me up with the talking role with that whole DX thing, because he knew me from Memphis, and he was looking out for me, and I really appreciate that. He didn't have to do it. I didn't ask him to do it, but he told me he would help me out, and he really did, and I appreciate that. I can always have that on DVD forever. That's something I can keep, as long as I live, so. But yeah, Michael Hayes was a super nice dude anyway, but he really took care of me that day.
Well, Michael had a lot of stuff to do with Brandon, and just a big, huge fan of this area, or Memphis area. I still say this area, and I live in St. Louis. All right, we're going to get off here. Remember, guys, same bat time, same bat channel, the best little wrestling podcast in the business. Be there.